Hey everybody, it's Cody here, and I guess it's kind of a Chronic Confusion video. Yeah, we'll call it that. It's where it's going to get posted anyway. No, I haven't been on in a while. Life, it's shit. But I wanted to come and talk to you all today about Star Wars. It's something that I really love, and I just can't. We haven't talked about The Last Jedi on the channel, even though we went and saw it together. We definitely haven't talked about Solo on the channel. We definitely haven't talked about the fallout of what's happened since the splitting of the fandom with The Last Jedi, and then that led to what happened with Solo, essentially. So, what I'd like to start off with is a little bit of a review recap of both of the films, go into my opinions on them a little bit, and then we'll start talking about the fallout, the possible fallout, the things, the rumors that are going on, the backlash from both the fans, Disney, Lucasfilm, the mainstream media. Alright, so let's start off with The Last Jedi. So, personally, there are only 3 Star Wars films that I've only watched one time. And they're the last 3 that have come out. And it's not because of a lack of wanting to watch them again. No, it's more like it's more like I really liked Rogue One. I think we talked about that already. It might be one of my favorite Star Wars movies that they've done. I didn't see The Last Jedi again because well, honestly, as soon as I walked out of that theater, my initial feelings were that I hated this film. And I hated it because of about, I want to say, 4 scenes. Everyone hates the Mary Poppins scene. Fucking everybody does. If you like that shit, go fucking watch Mary Poppins. That's not how it should have looked. It didn't even look believable for ILM. Like, you guys reverted back to your The Mummy 3, Curse of the Scorpion King shit. You know, where The Rock comes out and he just looks like a piece of latex. Yeah, that's what you all kind of did to Carrie Fisher in that scene. On top of making her float absurdly through space like she's a master of the fucking Force. Regardless of lineage or bloodline or any of that shit, she couldn't have just willed herself through, right? Like, I mean, have her closer to the ship. Make a tiny move, or maybe make her blast herself back in or away from the explosion. Show her using the Force, absolutely. Everybody's wanted to see that. But you went over the top, Rian Johnson. It was silly. Editing should have called you out on it. I don't know. The next scene that I really didn't like, I guess it would have been an amount of scenes, would have been just the portrayal of Luke in general. You made me wait 2 fucking years to see him grab a lightsaber and throw it over his shoulder. You made me wait 2 years to hear a dialogue. Michael fucking Eisner, you said that Luke's monologue when he first spoke to Rey at one of your shareholder meetings, you said it would be Oscar worthy. Do you lie to your shareholders that often? Because I don't own any shares, but I was giving y'all a lot of money, and honestly, I just don't feel that you respect people enough if you're gonna lie like that. Like, maybe you're just trying to throw them off the trail or something, but either way, it was pretty stupid. The way he acted in general, and I mean, you could tell Mark Hamill wasn't happy. During the whole fucking process, Mark Hamill was not happy. And I mean, I don't know. I guess there's an argument to be made about not, doing too much fan service, but it's fucking Star Wars. We're giving you the service of giving you billions of dollars through movies, through the TV shows, through the toys. Shit, we'd probably buy the video games if you'd fucking get it away from EA, but that's another topic. So I didn't like the way that they portrayed Luke. Neither did Mark Hamill. So there's two, right? You got Mary Poppins Leia. You've got apathetic Luke, I guess. Apathetic asshole Luke. Who drinks green milk and squeezes it from the tits of some odd looking thing that looks a little bit like a Toydarian, but whatever. The scene after that I didn't like. When Snoke died. Oh, and sorry, there's gonna be fucking spoilers. If you haven't seen either of the movie, I don't know why the fuck you're watching my video on them. But so, when Snoke got killed, right, and I knew that's what was gonna happen, like as I was watching it, right? I knew it was happening. It was just so easy to see coming, right? Which is partially why I didn't like it so much. Because I knew it was fucking coming. It wasn't a shock to me at all. Like, I didn't read any spoilers on it. They kept a good job of keeping the script under wraps. I tried to look for it. I fucking couldn't find it. But no. Like, I saw it coming. And I'm a guy who doesn't care about spoilers. Like, you can spoil a movie for me, and 9 times out of 10 I'm still going to be able to enjoy that movie because the way that I saw it in my head is not the way that it is actually done, right? So, that's just, I know people are different, but that's just how I am on it. But so, the fact that I could sense it coming, it almost cheapened it for me. And I'm not a fan of, like, I don't know, like low expectations or something. Either way, I really didn't like that scene. And then the last scene that I absolutely hated, and I mean absolutely hated, was the very last scene. Fucking Broom Kid. How in the fuck does that fit into a main story Star Wars saga? How in the fuck is that the ending to your fucking film, Ryan? How? Like, who signed off on that one? Like, really? Did they just, like, give you free creative license and said, you can do no fucking wrong? It's Star Wars. Because, honestly, you can do wrong. We have a holiday special that proves that. I honestly, of those 4 scenes that I named, or those 4 things that I named from the film, and again, I've only watched it once, but after just, that was my initial reaction to them. As I took time to digest it, Luke stopped pissing me off. And it wasn't that I liked the character anymore, or I liked the way that they took the character anymore after letting it digest. It was that I felt, well, it is what it is at this point. It's not what I wanted by any means. But he did get that little bit of redemption, right? Skywalker got the redemption at the end when he force projected himself across countless miles of the galaxy, countless light years probably, across the galaxy, to essentially give the Resistance a chance to escape. The more I thought about Snoke's death, the more okay I got with it. Because, again, it wasn't the fact that Snoke died that upset me. It was that I saw it coming. But as I thought more and more about it, I realized we've never had this type of a power dynamic in Star Wars. On the bad side, at the very least. We have always, in our movies, seen a master and an apprentice. Never have we watched the apprentice do that, right? Now, I know Vader wanted to, But by the time that Vader did that, he was redeemed. Kylo is not. Kylo is not redeemed whatsoever. In fact, I feel that what he really wanted to do was to have Rey join him. Probably in his mind as an apprentice, right? But more or less as equals. They would, just unleash the Force on whoever didn't agree with what they wanted to do. But that didn't work out. Rey left. Kylo was left in charge of everything and made silly, rash decisions as an angsty boys want to do. But then, there's also that theory. Snoke is the one. Actually, I don't. This isn't the theory, but Snoke is the one that made the connection between Rey and Kylo. The theory is that the whole fucking thing, Rey going on to his flagship, the whole fucking thing was a farce. Like, it was all in their head the whole time. And I find that to be a little bit more believable than it legit happened. Because does anybody honestly think Snoke's that dumb? Like, would Snoke legit sit there and get cut in half? Like, you don't think he's able to resist that kind of shit? And I mean, clearly, The Last Jedi, not only was it disruptive to the fan base, it was disruptive to the entire creative project of the main story. Colin Trevorrow, regardless of what you think about him, was offered a job, was offered a contract, and he wrote, apparently, a pretty decent script. And then Carrie Fisher died, and he tried to ask Rian to not kill Snoke and not kill Luke. Rian said, go suck my dick, because Rian asked JJ. JJ initially was going to send R2-D2. Or was it? No, whichever way. Rian asked that the droid be switched that went to Octu with Rey. Okay? And JJ was like, yeah, man, sure, I can do that for you, make it a little bit easier with the vision you want. Rian was like, no, I'm not changing anything with my film, Colin. You just do, you work with what I'm giving you. And we all know how that turned out. Two or three scripts after Carrie's passing, and nothing. Well, JJ's back. Honestly, don't know where it goes. I don't. So Last Jedi for me, while it's not a bad movie, right? It's not. It's a pretty decent movie. It's fun to watch. I enjoyed watching it. But man, there's a lot of shit in there that just could have been done away with. I mean, Canto Bight was like a fucking afterthought. They threw that in there. I don't know why. It was cool. I enjoyed seeing it. But it was very pointless. I mean, they put Rose Tico, is that her fucking name? They put Rose Tico in a romantic relationship with Finn. They set up Finn and Rey. Or some people were hoping Finn and Poe. But they set up Finn and Rey in The Force Awakens. I mean, and Ryan said, no, nope, don't like that. Nope, gotta make 2 minorities date. It's probably not what he was thinking. I was just making a dumb joke. But still, it was stupid. Fucking DJ was Benicio del Toro's character. Underused, right? Like, I'm sitting here thinking that it's going to be Ezra Bridger from Rebels, and maybe it was. They never really gave a real name, right? But he didn't come off as an Ezra character. I will tell you, though, I really did like the little comic relief between Poe and Hux at the beginning. I did like that. Some people thought it was over the top. There were some comedy scenes in it that were a little too much, but that scene was really good. The dog fights were lacking in it, right? They were lacking a little bit, and I understand why, because the resistance was running. They weren't really fighting at that point, but still, they were lacking. Not only that, you did have a really cool scene with Rey and Kylo teaming up against the Praetorian Guards. That was pretty cool. I did enjoy that. But so, Last Jedi for me, I want to say it's in the bottom three. Like, I'd probably put it above Attack of the Clones. I'd have to watch it a few more times, though, to really cement where it goes. And so, an interesting tidbit that I'd like to leave off on with The Last Jedi is something that the director said. Rian Johnson, was asked like how does he feel? Like what does he think makes a movie successful? And what he said was, he didn't want everyone to come up and say, "Oh wow, it's a great movie. I loved it." He said he'd much prefer it if people either loved it or they hated it. They did. And the last thing I'll say on Ryan is I'm not looking forward to your trilogy. You have to do a lot to make me not look forward to your trilogy, but the way that you talk to the fans, the way that you talk down to them, the way you treated Mark Hamill, I don't know, man. You're better than that. I hope you are. Stop showing your ass a little bit, bud. Maybe I'll see your trilogy if they make it. Alright. So, we're going to move on from The Last Jedi, possibly in my bottom three of Star Wars films, to the more recent, and I guess more widely panned, Solo. Star Wars story. Second spin-off from Disney. Rogue One, amazing. Like, honestly, it might be my favorite Star Wars movie. It's the only Star Wars movie that's brought a tear to my eye. And I knew they were all going to die. But this isn't about Rogue One, okay? It's about Solo. I really liked the movie. I did. There's maybe two things in it I didn't like. All, like, period. Just, like, two things that were kind of a little dumb to me. The robot. What was it? L337? Leet? Or whatever. Ha 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 ha. Cute joke. Like, the SJW robot leads a successful droid uprising on the spice mines of Kessel, and I guess we're supposed to feel good about that, but if you know anything about Star Wars lore, you know that the spice mines of Kessel experience uprisings and revolt often and are quashed very quickly, very painfully. It's a fucking prison work camp where you mine drugs to sell to other criminal empires. Except you're not selling, your bosses or your masters or your overlords, they're selling it. So it wasn't even the fact that it led to revolt. It was just the way it was. It was over the top. It was supposed to be a comic relief character. You don't need a comic relief character when you have someone playing a Solo and someone playing a Lando. And the Lando is a natural comedian anyway. Let's not forget you had Woody Harrelson in there, also a comedian. But, that being said, I really liked the movie. I really did. So I didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that they tried to say that Lando was sexually attracted to or sexually involved with the robot. You understand that you care about it, right? Like that's your companion, your friend. It didn't have a moist hole or anything, so I don't know how that would have worked. Let's not talk about it. But that was, honestly, those are the two things I didn't like about it. That's it. I thought the movie was fucking great. Like, and I mean, like, I guess one of the big reveals, right, of the movie is that this guy right here, not a guy at all. It's a girl, and everyone's like, "Oh." Like, I don't understand why you have to play that up as like a shock value. Are you supposed to make me feel like, "Oh wow, girls can do things"? I've known that. I'm 29 years old. I've known that since I could put fucking thoughts in my head and like, make comprehensive sentences. I struggle with that sometimes, as you can tell. But no, honestly, like I don't think you're doing it right. Like the whole SJW angle. Like you don't have to force it, man. Like it doesn't matter who's behind that mask. It just matters like if they're doing it cool or not, right? They did it pretty damn cool with those swoop bikes and all that cool shit. I mean, hell, man, the costume looked fucking great. I didn't care who was underneath the mask. Like, it didn't matter. Boy, girl, white, black, yellow, red, purple, pink. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. And it shouldn't. I mean, you shouldn't. You should never judge people based off of sex or race or religion, right? Those are things that you shouldn't judge people off of. You judge them based off of their character. So, like, they try to throw this in as like a shock value, and I don't know who they're like trying to shock, because that's what it was for. Like when she removed that mask, it was supposed to be like, oh, oh my God, but no, because most people don't think that poorly of women to think that they could lead a band of renegade pirate home protectors. It's kind of what they were, right? Like renegade pirate home protectors. Nope, I forgot what the group name was called, but that's essentially what they were, right? Han meeting Chewie was pretty great, right? Reminiscent of Luke being tossed into the Rancor pit at Jabba's palace. And to be honest with you, I really thought that the two that threw them in there were going to end up being Tag and Bink because, which if you don't know who Tag and Bink is, they're rebel spies who infiltrate the Empire and always end up at these big scenes in the movies, right? But they're like lucky idiots in the sense that like even though they succeed, it's by the dumbest of luck that they did it. It's by mere happenstance and generally very comical. They're comic book characters, and Ron Howard actually tweeted out with pictures saying that they're in it. But see, now I don't even think that that was Tag and Bink, because now that I'm thinking and I just remembered the pictures, they showed them both in Imperial officer uniforms, so be interested to see that deleted scene. Kira was a cool character. I did enjoy her. I enjoyed her arc because it showed the like how people starting at the same level, right, have different outcomes based off of the different decisions that they happen to make. So Han breaks out, gets free, first scene in a fucking movie, and goes on this little bit of like an adventure, if you will, where he's like, oh, I'm gonna join up with the Empire. Oh, fuck that, I'm gonna leave the Empire. And he just basically happens to fall into the right spot at the right time, runs into Kira again, who, spoiler warning, Kira is working for a very, very bad group of people. What are they? Was it the Red Dawn? It wasn't Black Sun. I wish it had been Black Sun. Red Dawn, or no, Crimson Dawn. That must have been it. Crimson Dawn. Sorry, I've only seen it once. I'm really trying to jog my memory. I saw it opening night. I can't remember. I think her name's Tandy. I can't remember Tandy's actual character's name, but spoiler, she was in the movie for like 20 minutes, died. It was a very heroic death, right? She served very minimal purpose to me. I think the more purpose of her arc was, at least in my mind, was her showing Han that not not everybody who is doing these shady things are heartless. Because what they were doing was shady. They're stealing shit. I mean, it was from the Empire, sure, but I mean, you gotta follow the law. Um, but so yeah, she shows that not all of these underworld types are these horrible, heartless, calloused people. Woody Harrelson's character, Beckett, loved him. I loved Beckett. Even near the end, when he does a little bit of a betrayal towards Han, I loved it. Because to me, what he showed Han was, I feel like Han admired the fuck out of this guy. Like Han saw him and said, I'm gonna be like him. Except I'm gonna be a better pilot, obviously. But he was like, this Beckett guy, I think I could be like him, and I think I think that kind of probably hurt Han at the end. Probably more than either the actor really showed with the face, which to me I feel like was good acting because it was kind of Han toughening up a little bit, right? Like trying to shut off his heart because he had seen this criminal make a sacrifice for Beckett. And he thought, okay, so I can trust these people. And then Beckett does what he does to him. And you can almost see like why he is the way he is. Like he's always had that that brash humor, but he wasn't like that cold exterior that we see in A New Hope, that we see in Empire Strikes Back. I love you, I know, right? What that comes from Beckett. I think that really comes from Beckett showing him that like Beckett was out for himself, and Han wanted to be like Beckett, and Han put his trust into Beckett, especially after Beckett's lover had pretty much sacrificed herself. And yeah. I think that was probably one of the key moments in Han's life when he had to shoot Beckett that really helped make him who he was when we get to meet him, essentially the first time, right? When we met him in A New Hope. Years had been in between there, but that was where it started. Now let's get on to Lando. Donald Glover, it's not emulation, right? Imitating. It wasn't an imitation, not emulation. It wasn't an imitation of. It was not an imitation of Billy D. Williams. It was more of an evocation of Billy D. Williams. Sometimes I couldn't even tell the difference. And honestly, when they first meet, he's like, "Oh, I'm Han. Hi, Han." No, it's Han. To me, like, that's what I was really wanting in this kind of a movie. I was wanting callbacks. I was wanting to see how things started. And it's not really a callback at that point. It would make Empire the callback, right? And again, probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie is at the end, where Han is very angry at Lando. Han and Chewie are angry at Lando for leaving him stranded. They go to play a game of cards, but pretty much it's like the reverse of what happens when Han and Leia arrive on Bespin in Empire. So, they do this faux "I'm angry at you" type thing, and like it scares Lando. But it was such a good callback to what happened in The Empire Strikes Back. I loved it. And now, probably the two most important parts. Oh no. Let's go back to one thing. Everyone always used to be like, parsec is not a measurement of distance. It's a measurement of time. Well, they answered that in this one. It was pretty nice. The Kessel Run. Uh, Basically, he plotted out a new path throughout the mall, and it was great. I really enjoyed it. Um, but now to arguably the two most important parts. You have, spoiler, Darth Maul is in charge of the Crimson Dawn, which if anyone's watched the Clone Wars or Rebels, you know that Darth Maul did not die at the Phantom Menace. He went crazy and then regained his sanity, and basically he's gotten the shit kicked out of him over and over again by Obi-Wan. Once by Palpatine, but mostly by Obi-Wan. Over and over again, at least throughout the Clone Wars. And then in Rebels, he actually finally was killed. Maybe. In Rebels. By Obi-Wan. And he was in this movie. And that was something that I did not see coming. So when he appeared on the screen, really enjoyed it. Paul Bettany's character was pretty good. I did enjoy him. He did a good job as Dryden Voss. And then the other thing, this movie was set up like they set it up for sequels. They really did, and I wanted them. I would have loved to watch Chewie, young Lando, young Han, and all of them. I think that would have been awesome. I really would have enjoyed that. But instead we all know what happens. Or what happened. Solo flopped. And I mean, it didn't really, though. I mean, I know that I guess it's still gonna lose maybe 60 million. Maybe not, though. But it didn't flop in terms of like a summer blockbuster, an action flick, or anything like that. It only flopped in terms of the generally ridiculous goal of crossing $1 billion threshold because it's a Star Wars movie. But you can't hate on the fans, Ryan and Kathleen. You can't sit there and do that to us and expect us to come out and see. I wanted to see it. I had heard people were worried about that fucking robot. So I kind of went in knowing that the robot was probably going to annoy me. And it did. But that fucking robot died pretty quick, and, oh well. But, I want to show you something I think might surprise a lot of you. I don't know if any of you like to read Forbes. I do on occasion. But Forbes, on July the 5th, so a couple days ago, it's the 11th now, so 6 days ago, Solo, a Star Wars story, reaches a bittersweet box office milestone. It's kinda sorta no longer the lowest grossing live action Star Wars movie in North America. It's earned about $209.5 million. That's just over the $209.4 million domestic gross that Empire Strikes Back took. So, there you go. Now, it did take home $290 million altogether, Empire Strikes Back did. But that is also including the 1997 special edition release, the 1982 reissue in theaters. But it's not adjusting for inflation. I believe that's what they said down here at the bottom. Let's see. Where does it say? Well, I don't see where it didn't say anything about inflation. I thought that I read it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time trying to hunt it down. But the thing is that now, at least domestically, Solo's only the second lowest grossing Star Wars live action movie. In front of only, and only, what a lot of people argue is the best. The Empire Strikes Back. Disney is really, really, really trying to pound home Star Wars. And I was fine with 6 movies over 6 years. We've gotten 4 of them. I liked 3. One of them, Last Jedi. I'm I think I like it overall. But it's hard for me to say that. And I don't like them the way I like the other 3. So I'm still waiting on 2 more movies. And I know I'm going to get one. I know I'm getting episode 9 next year. It's coming. No matter what. Like, that train's a coming. Unless the planet gets eradicated. It's coming. What may not be coming is all of the other things they were planning movie-wise. Which, just to go over them, let's break it down. A Rian Johnson trilogy. It's not a main saga trilogy, it's just a Rian Johnson trilogy. We don't know if he's going to be doing all 3, or if it's just he's overseeing them and doing the first one, or what. It was announced before The Last Jedi even came out. I think the premiere had come out, and all those reviews were coming in like, oh, it's the best Star Wars movie of all time. Either way, you have what I like to call the Game of Thrones trilogy. What are their name? D.B. Weiss? What's his name? Oh, I can't think of their names. D.B. Weiss and something else. Benioff, maybe? Yeah. D.B. Weiss and David Benioff, right? They're getting a trilogy. I'm really excited for that. I know Disney's not going to let us put out an R-rated movie, but I could hope. And my hope really is that these guys would take and explore some of the old legends. I wouldn't mind seeing some Old Republic type stuff. I feel like these guys would do well with the Old Republic because it's a more romanticized version of the Star Wars universe, if that makes sense. Like, same shit going on. You know, you got people in badass armor, you got people with badass guns, you got people with badass ships, you got people using the Force, you got people with lightsabers. Difference is, there's a lot of them, and there's not just 2 fucking Sith. It's a whole fucking planet, a whole army, a whole empire of Sith. There's a Sith race that goes on in it. So, I mean, I think to me that is just an untapped treasure trove that I think D.B. Weiss and David Benioff would do a great job at. And like I said, you have this fucking guy, Rian fucking Johnson. Well, it just makes sense, right? Little is known about the setting or expected release date of Johnson's trilogy at this point, but it's reported to focus on characters who have little or no connection to the Skywalker bloodline. My bet, this stupid fuck starts off movie 1. It's called Broom Boy. The Journey Begins, Star Wars, fucking Rian Johnson. Second movie, Broom Kid falls down, goes traveling through time, meets Bruce Willis. Third movie, I get Colin Trevorrow fired with Broom Boy. I don't know. I'm not looking forward to Rian Johnson's shit. Honestly, I'm not. Not only that, though, the rumors were, before Rogue One came out, that we were going to get a war movie in the Star Wars universe, a western/heist movie in the Star Wars universe, and a spiritual movie in the Star Wars universe. Now, we got the war film, Rogue One. We've got the western/heist film in Solo. Everyone assumed the spiritual movie would be an Obi-Wan movie. I mean, hell, they even bring up Darth Maul in Solo. Does that make you want to see Ewan McGregor put on those nice Jedi robes and have his hair bleached by the Tatooine dueling suns and go out there channeling his best uh, Alec Guinness, and just going out there and being awesome, struggling with failing as he thinks, right? The only thing he has left to do now is just to watch over Luke. I mean, I remember a pretty cool comic. It was actually, I believe they're called Star Wars Legends. There are two or three of them. So it was before Disney bought Lucasfilm and Star Wars, and in it there was a story, and it was, I want to say it might have even been before the Clone Wars brought the motherfucker back. But Star Wars Legends, the little comic, there's either two or three issues of it, and it's like a compilation of different stories, possibly by different artists. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Um, they they had a really cool thing with a Darth Maul showing up with his horns having grown out probably about another 2 or 3 inches, and having these ATST looking, but they're more like a gunmetal um, legs, like not like as tall as one, but like the little backward chicken like things, like ticka 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 ticka. Yeah, their knees bend different. Using that, and his lightsaber was a little bit different. Like, you still had a double-bladed lightsaber, but it was a little bit different and all that goodness. So he's there, and the whole reason he's there is because he has been hunting down Obi-Wan. So he shows up on Tatooine. He's hunting down Obi-Wan, and I guess either I'm misremembering or they didn't bring it up. Somehow figures out that Obi-Wan is watching over Luke. So he attempts to kill young Luke. Not really. It was more like, I'm goading you out of hiding, old man. And so Obi-Wan and him have an epic duel. Epic on the sands of Tatooine. And again, he cuts his robotic legs off. Cuts his lightsaber in half. You know, not a complete retreading. Happens in different. It happens differently. Similar enough. But Obi-Wan has his hilt like this to Darth Maul's head, and he's all like, Darth Maul's sitting there like, yeah, fucking do it, bruh. You ain't got no balls, fucking do it, bruh. And Obi-Wan's all like, oh, but I'm torn, I'm a Jedi, but I've got to protect Luke, but I shouldn't kill, he's defenseless, blah, blah, blah. And then, pew! Blaster bolt to the dome. Here comes Uncle Owen saying, get the fuck off of my fucking property, you old crazy man, and take your red devil friend with your ass. Stay away from my boy. I love that. And like I said, I'm pretty sure that came out before the Clone Wars brought Maul back, and maybe that's where they got it from. But I want to see that. Like, I know Rebels gave me it. Kind of. I want to see it again. I want to see another Maul and Obi-Wan fight live on screen. I want that. We've also heard a rumor of a Boba Fett movie, which was going to be a Josh Trank film, but thank God they got rid of him, right? But so this is important. The reason I wanted to talk about these is because after Solo performed so poorly, that the rumor was from Collider that they had put all these movies on hold. In fact, I'll give you what the actual update here says. While neither of these films have been confirmed by the studio, a report from Collider claiming that any Star Wars stories, standalone spin-off films from the traditional canon, were put on hold due to poor returns from Solo, a Star Wars story, has been denounced, it's an important word, by Lucasfilm as inaccurate. As reported by ABC News, Lucasfilm went on to say that there are multiple Star Wars films currently in development and as yet unannounced that fall outside the planned film series from Rian Johnson and Game of Thrones writers David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. They're not the writers, they're showrunners. Maybe they write a little bit. Either way. So when that rumor first came out from Collider that they were putting it on hold, I like lost my shit. I was like, this is the dumbest thing in the world. I wish Disney had never bought Star Wars. And I was never worried about it. About them buying Star Wars. But so basically, now what they've said, and I feel like it's more of them like saving face, is that the only thing that they've canceled, that they've put on hold, well, they won't even call it canceled, that they've put on hold, was a unannounced movie that was going to be set completely revolving around the Mos Eisley Cantina and the people therein. Like, I mean, I don't know who greenlit that one. Because like the only way I think that could even be a marketable movie, the only way, is if you made a View Askew Star Wars movie. If you let Kevin Smith write and direct and probably fucking star in it. I'd watch Clerks. I'd watch Cantina Clerks, right? I'd watch that. I don't know that I'd really be interested in watching what the fucking Biff who got done playing his synthesizer. I don't know if I want to see what he's doing afterwards. I don't know that I care about what the Ithorian drinks. I'm not sure that I worry about how the Jawas barter. Not enough to go spend $13 to see it in a theater. But so, according to Disney, that's the only thing that's really been put on hold, while there are several things that no one even knows about that we're working on. So let's go talk about some of that. We got Star Wars Resistance. It's what's replacing Star Wars Rebels. I'm not sure how I feel about this one yet, because the main person looks exactly like an Ezra Bridger. Hold on. Let me pull up that picture real quick for you all. I mean, I don't know how well you all can see that. But this guy right here, right? Alright, so there's Poe, right? And BB-8. And there's Phasma, some nameless assholes. And then people are assuming that this is Cardinal from the Phasma book, which would make sense. But clearly this is going to be taking place in between Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, because spoiler, that one's gone. But that motherfucker looks dead on fucking Ezra. Like, and all this is someone talking at a shareholder event. Who is it? Who's talking at it? And it doesn't matter who's talking. What's important is that guy looks just like Ezra. To me. And then you have Poe, BB-8, someone you don't know, someone you don't know, someone you don't know, a weird looking ship, and First Order people. I mean, I'll watch it. To be honest with you, I still need to finish Rebels. I kind of slacked off there on that. I really like that show too, but I don't think I've finished the last season. Oh, I know I haven't finished the last season yet. But, so they want to say this kind of shit, right? Like, they want to say, oh, you know, if you guys don't want to see the movies, if you guys don't want to give us $1 billion with each one of these we pump out, we'll just put some of them on hold. I don't really feel like that's what they're doing. Not Disney. I feel like Disney's trying to do some good stuff. Like, I feel like, you know, someone in someone's ears all like, put an SJW robot in there, and blah, 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 blah. I don't know. This one, however, this is the kind of shit that pisses me off, and this is probably where we're gonna wrap this thing up at. But this is a quote, also from Forbes. The Star Wars fans have always had their rotten apples. There are folks who are still mad, 21 years later, that George Lucas inserted CGI into the Star Wars trilogy and made Han Solo shoot second. Yeah, it redefines his whole fucking character. I do not know if these are the same folks who graduated to racism and sexism once the new Star Wars movies began putting women and minorities in more front and center roles. Fuck you, putting women and minorities in more center front roles. Man, Princess Leia, Mon Mothma, Lando Calrissian. Alright, I'll give you that. He was like one of two black guys in Star Wars. But that's just dumb. I don't know if these are the same folks who graduated to racism and sexism. No. I tend to believe that these are just garden variety racist and misogynistic trolls who use Star Wars fandom as a cover, but the clickbait and reaction-friendly media is helping to turn their assaults into mainstream news and inflating their voice and their numbers. Oh my god. Isn't that what you're doing? By, like, talking about it right there, you're just giving them a bigger platform? Yeah, you can dislike a Star Wars movie or a Ghostbusters reboot without being an alt-right troll or an incel smuck. Incel means infinitely celibate, right? Or an incel smuck. So this person, I'm going to assume it's a woman. Oh no, it's Scott Mendelson, it's a man. Alright. See, look, I'm glad I looked. But then again, I also just assumed gender, so shame on me. So I can dislike a Star Wars movie or a Ghostbusters reboot without being an alt-right troll. Or for that matter, I can probably enjoy problematic movies without necessarily being part of the problem. You don't give any examples of your problematic movies, though. There's a difference between panning a movie or even passionately discussing a movie you disliked and verbally assaulting an artist over that movie. You should know the difference between not wanting a gender-swapping remake like the mostly enjoyable Ocean's 8 because you prefer original female-driven stories and making a point to refer to its three minority actresses as swamp donkeys. If this isn't you, then this isn't about you. I don't know, guys. Like, stop being offended at fucking everything. It's not worth it. Stop being so upset at everything. It's not worth it. Your fucking first world problems are stupid and pointless and silly. You think you're gonna have it better in a third world country or even a second world country? Do you honestly? Like, just stop it. Stop being so divisive. Stop hating everybody. People like shit or they don't like shit. And 9 times out of 10 it has absolutely nothing to do with immutable characteristics of the people in it or the people who made it. It's generally about whether or not that person's preferences allowed them to like or enjoy a film or a piece of art or a song or something. Because, I mean, like, I don't hear anybody sitting around saying, well, if you don't like Nordish death metal bands, that means that you completely hate the entire European nation, all of them. You hate all of Europe because you don't like Nordic Swedish metal bands. So, or you don't hear someone being like, oh, you don't like Justin Bieber? Well, then I guess you don't like white people. Because it's a stupid, silly argument. Because people have fucking preferences, right? The Ghostbusters movie sucked. It didn't need anyone's fucking help doing that. The jokes fell flat. And what's that guy's fucking name? The guy that made it? It doesn't matter. He's a fucking idiot. But I guess people are upset at Star Wars fans because Kelly Marie Tran, Rose Tico couldn't stay on social media. Go read some of my old Facebook shit, man. People say some bad stuff about me. Right? People say bad shit to me to my fucking face. And they damn sure say it behind my back. People are gonna fucking talk. Kelly Marie Tran, you have fucking money. Right? You don't even have to be on that fucking thing. You can have a fucking publicist just post shit out for you. Or you could do what most people have to do on a day-to-day basis. Brush it aside, because haters are gonna hate. Although, your character was pretty fucking stupid. No animosity towards you as a person, an individual, or an actor, or anything. But I just felt that the character was stupid. Anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. Don't know how long I've been going. but I feel like it's a decent video. I hope to get back over to Smurfs shortly. We can get a good old Chronic Confusion in. But if not, I do have a setup at the house and would be able to do videos like this. So guys, we enjoy y'all listening. We like talking to you, you know. So watch out for the potholes.